Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brett and Briggs here again, bringing you guys another pellet stove part installation video. And today we're going to be focusing on the vacuum switch system. What's up?
Oh, Matt. Welcome to the channel. Today, Briggs and I are going to be focusing on the vacuum switch on this Breckwell Big E pellet stove. Let's go to work.
Let's do it.
Okay, friends, take a moment and like, share, subscribe. We would appreciate it. We'll leave it at that. These are the tools that you will need. You can use an impact with a Phillips adapter, or you can just use two basic Phillips screwdrivers. And obviously, here is the vacuum switch. Okay, friends, as always, I won't get too excited about it, but it's pretty important. Unplug your stove prior to doing any repairs on a pellet stove. If you are uncomfortable with it, call your local service provider.
So first off, let's go find your guys' vacuum switch. So you're going to approach your stove and you're going to be focusing on the left side here where the control panel is. You want to come over towards the back, and again, double check that your stove is unplugged and there's no electrical current going into your stove. You're then going to be focusing on this, taking this panel off right here, and there are 3 Phillips screws. So we'll work top to bottom. We'll take these off. You able to get a good view there, Dad?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Once we have those screws off, we're going to gently take this panel down, and remember, there is a Molex connector attached to the control board here. We want to go over here and we want to disconnect this. Disconnecting it, you want to take your thumb here, make sure that flap is lifted up, and then we're going to gently take the connector off, set to the side. Being very careful with this panel, set to the side too, as it has one of the most expensive parts of the stove on there. Right here, grab my flashlight. And your vacuum switch is going to be located right here. So before doing any replacing, we're going to kind of go over a number of things that actually could be tripping or throwing off this vacuum switch. One of the very first things that could be an issue with your stove is this hose right here. You may have a blockage in here within the hose, or up in here where the connection piece is in the back of the firebox. So what you could do, I'm going to come over here. You're going to take your hand right where this connection is on the vacuum switch. You're going to pull it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to check it by clearing the line. You can do this a multitude of ways. If you have an air compressor, you can blow right through there, or you can manually blow air through there if need be, if you don't have an air compressor around. That way it clears the lines, and any blockages that could be giving this vacuum switch a false reading are clear. And if that is the case, that is one of the first steps that could be a problem solved without having to replace this.
Okay, you get home from work, you've had a hard day, you come up and say, geez, I want to get the heater going. You come up, you push the on button, you're all excited to get the heat out, and all of a sudden, on number 2, the red light starts to flash. That is giving you an indication that there is a problem with the vacuum switch. So you see that red light flash and you say, oh, good golly. Well, I tell you what, there's a few things that may be tripping this vacuum switch. Here we go. You may have a door seal that's not tight. That may throw it off. Number 2, your burn pot could be excessively dirty where the holes, the air holes in there are not clear, where you're not getting enough airflow through there. This one here is, oh my gosh, it's so dirty I can't even see the holes. But anyway, that could be one thing. We're going to come over this way, real slow. Come along now. Where's the flashlight, son? Hold on. Let's get that flashlight on for him. Now, this is a rarity, but it may happen. This is your exhaust fan. Or exhaust motor. The RPMs of this motor may decrease, and that could trip the vacuum switch. And one last thing, right here is where your exhaust pipe is. If that exhaust pipe gets filled with ash, that's going to throw off this vacuum switch. These are some of the things that may do it. just check each thing carefully. This motor would be your last source. Usually it's within that hose that Briggs showed you, or it's in this switch and it needs to be replaced. Now, this is a lot easier. Here we are with a table up in our workshop, but at home you got real tight spaces, and so it's not going to be as easy as this. But I tell you what, again, here's the vacuum switch here. Here's the tube that Briggs was talking about. You want to make sure that that's clear all the way through the firewall, because if it's not clear, it is going to trip this vacuum switch. And what it is, right here, I've got one in my hand. Proper operation, my hands, it's going to be in the closed position. It's a diaphragm. And if it trips, it opens, and therefore there's no current to this auger motor that drops the pellets. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, I need a new auger motor. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but rarely you don't. You gotta go back to this vacuum switch. Okay, we're back to the side of the stove. I'm gonna calm down a little bit, and Briggs is gonna show you how to change out this vacuum switch.
All right, so after checking all that other stuff that we mentioned previously, and if you're still not getting the results you want, more than likely, you're gonna have to replace it. It's very rare to replace these guys. They tend to not go out that easily, and even if they do go out, it's a very inexpensive part, and so you have a lot of pros within this whole checking process. So what we're gonna do first, again, always double check that your stove is unplugged. We are going to go for these two wires right here. You're gonna pull them out, as so. Sometimes they can stick a little bit. You might have to gingerly kind of move them. You're gonna set those to the side as so. You're gonna take the hose off. All those connections are gone. We're gonna go in the back here. There's gonna be one Phillips screw here. We're gonna take that off. Your old vacuum switch is down here. We're gonna grab the new one. We are going to line it up.
So you're just putting the screw into the back of the vacuum switch and tightening it.
Yeah.
There's the other side. Right there. Dual side.
Two-sided. The screw went back there with the stove and onto the switch, this hole right here. And then we're gonna work backwards. Take the hose or connect it to the port there. And we're gonna take your wires and you're gonna replace them on the two spots as so here. And again, when you're working with these encapsulated wires, you want to make sure the male ends go right in the middle of these female ends. A number of times what can happen if people aren't really paying attention, this male end can get tucked into the top.
Too bright there, son. I
Oh, here, let me go. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
So this male end, if you don't watch it closely, it can go kind of tucked up in the top or below and not right in the middle. And then you won't have a true connection, so you can have intermittent functions of the vacuum switch. But after all said and done, there you go. You have a new vacuum switch in your stove. I want to mention one more thing when clearing the lines that I didn't mention earlier. So you remember from early in the video, when we clear the lines, we want to have the airflow go this way towards the firebox. You do not want to disconnect it from this end here and have the air blow in towards the vacuum switch. The reason being of that is when you're clearing the line, you want all the dust to get out of the tube and away from the sensor. And if it goes in the firebox, that's okay. If you go the other way, all that possible blockages, instead of going to a place that it doesn't really matter, it will end up going in here if you do the airflow this way, and it'll get kind of entangled in the sensor. It can throw off the diaphragm that's in there, which will eventually, well, you may have to replace it again. So just be wary of that. I just want to say airflow, when clearing it, going towards the stove, not towards the sensor.
So what you're saying here, real quick, you're gonna pull this thing off. Got it in your hand, just like this. There it is. You wanna put the air this way towards the stove, not towards the vacuum switch.
Exactly.
Perfectly done. So again, I'll take this, move it back over, tightly fit it back on like so. Oh my goodness, that was awful.
Got it there?
It's there. We got it.
There you all have it. You guys have a new vacuum switch in your pellet stove.
You'll find these vacuum switches in most new pellet stoves. They're a safety feature. They're a pain, pain, pain. But you know that if you just take your time, troubleshoot, put it in, pretty soon you got a ginormous flame again. You got warm air out into your house, and it's a great day. Hopefully we've been helpful to you and your family. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you on the next video.
Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.